That dude, your first year experience in the Marine Corps, like, holy cow, how much you got set up without even knowing for the rest of your life from that behavior of what you even do today and what you've been doing since you separated for the last, what, 7, 8 years is remarkable that you got that leg up like that. And it's all because you were stubborn and wanted to be infantry guy. Yeah.
That's right.
That's really cool, man. I never knew that background around that. I just knew, I always remember you as the Marine that's out there. I think you were in South Korea and your time out there. So before
Okinawa.
Okinawa, sorry. So your time then from, like, let's say, it sounds like that was probably 90, 97, 98. Then what were you up to September 11th then?
Well, so we got back from that Mediterranean float, and I was back in Lejeune for 2 or 3 months, and me and about 30 other people. It's just very strange for this to happen. It just doesn't happen very often. Usually when you go to a unit, you stay there for usually when you go to a unit, you stay there for 3 years and some change before you get ordered somewhere else. But me and like 30 other lance corporals got orders, permanent change of station orders to Parris Island, South Carolina, to work at the rifle range at Weapons Field Training Battalion at MCRDPI. And I didn't even know what it meant to have orders. Like, oh, you got orders. I'm like, what do you mean I got orders?
What'd I do wrong?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be over here. That was my platoon sergeant said to do this. That's his order, right? Like no, headquarters Marine Corps sent you orders. Like, me? And yeah, they need coaches down at Parris Island. It's a hot fill, which means they need people there very badly. And we just came back, so they just threw darts at a board and picked a lot of us and sent us down there. And so I had been in the fleet for just a couple of years at this point, and so I didn't do my whole full 3 years there, and I got sent to Parris Island, and I was a rifle range coach. So I went through coaches school, really learned a lot. In coaches school, thought I knew rifle range stuff, thought I knew how to shoot. I mean, I was a qualified expert, but I thought I knew stuff. But I learned a lot more in coaches school. And then I started coaching recruits and Marines when they would come to the range, and I learned that I did not know anything. I thought I did. Like, diving really deep into it, like not just like how to do stuff in your data book and do shots and mark shots and plot them and everything else, but like analyzing them, breaking them down, like statistics, like just a detailed understanding of look at this, and I can tell you exactly what you're doing wrong.
Right.
I can tell you exactly where you need to move your sights. I may not even, without doing math in my head, I can tell you how many clicks to turn this in which direction, just by looking at it. So I gained this intimate knowledge of the M16, just and not just the M16, but I think the important thing that really set the stage for me in the future was the integration of that hardware with the software, and helping that person understand how to integrate with that hardware.
Yeah.
And so I began learning a little bit of how to teach and how to do little tricks and how to get people to understand things. I didn't even know what I was doing. I'm 19 down there by now, I think, at some point. And it took for me forever to get promoted to corporal. I got meritorious promoted to lance corporal, but I didn't have for my MOS, was the cutting score to get promoted was very high. It was hard to get promoted. It wasn't, it doesn't matter how awesome you were, like, you're just crazy high. It's hard to get promoted. And I eventually made corporal. And as soon as I made corporal, they made me a block NCO. So I was in charge of a bunch of coaches. And then did that really well for a little bit. And I was running the tower on the range and basically running the whole range as a corporal. And the PMIs, the primary marksmanship instructors that would bring their platoons out there, and the drill instructors, they all knew me when I was a coach. And they knew me as a block NCO, so they would always request me, hey, we want Shaw to be our block NCO, because his coaches are in line, they do a good job. And there was people fighting over good coaches, because you got good coaches and you got bad coaches, and everybody was fighting over the good coaches when we restructured the blocks one day on Incheon Range. And I was like, look, you guys just pick all the guys you want. Just give me everybody you don't want. I want all the trash. I want all of them, because we're going to beat the shit out of you guys. Because all the block NCOs were sergeants. Gunny Shannon used to call me his corporal block. He wouldn't even call me by name. He was like, where's my corporal block NCO? Because he was proud to have the only range out there that had a corporal as a block NCO. And everybody else was sergeants and above. And he was my range staff NCO. We went through a few of those. But Gunny Shannon was an awesome dude. And so I just had all these guys and like, hey, look, they expect us to be horrible. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. And we killed it. And the PMIs were like, hey, we need to get Shaw off the range, man. He needs to come out here and be a PMI. And they're like, well, and then by now, Gunny Shannon is in charge of PMI section. And he's like, I went and talked to the colonel. They had a strict rule from RTR, from Recruit Training Regiment, like we can't have any, you have to be sergeant and above to be a PMI, because this PMI gets these recruits that are in 6th or 7th week of recruit training for 2 weeks straight, and they want to make sure they got somebody, the right person in front of them,
Right.
That's going to be able to deal with the drill instructors, not get ran over by the drill instructors. The PMI has to fight for things and put their foot down on some things and tell a staff sergeant sometimes, no, this is what we're going to do,
Yeah.
And they're afraid the corporal's not mature enough to do that, which is accurate sometimes, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
So I went to I graduated PMI school on my birthday, which is weird on my birthday again.
A lot of
was
trends on that.
Yeah, I was like right around my birthday. I can't remember exactly, but it was April 1st or 2nd that I graduated. I got the certificate somewhere because they said, hey, you can't go to PMI section, but we're going to send you to PMI school, which was awesome. I was the first PMI to graduate PMI school as a corporal in like 6 or 7 years or something. It's just not something that you do. And things change. Maybe now they do it. It happens a lot. I know last time I went down there, like most of the PMIs are staff sergeants. So the last time I talked to somebody down there, so it kind of goes up and down in different waves and ranks and who's doing what, depending on the needs of the Marine Corps everywhere else. So I ended up graduated PMI school, and I went back to the range to be a tower and block NCO or PID NCO, whatever I was doing that week, because I could do pretty much anything out there. And I'd been out there for a while, but I just couldn't get promoted to sergeant. The same reason, cutting score was crazy high. I never, and I was still in my first enlistment here, and I didn't pick up sergeant until I was in for 5.5 years on my second enlistment. That's when I finally picked up sergeant. A few years later, people would make sergeant in 2 years. In my same MOS, so it's crazy. It's the way the whole cutting scores and the needs of the Marine Corps work and how they do their figuring. But I ended up, Gunny Shannon was like, hey, Shaw, you're coming to PMIs on Monday after you finish this platoon out here. And I was like, you really? Like, I'm going to go push a platoon in PMI section? He's like, relax, dog. You're going to go out to A-line, like the third phase marksmanship. So after they go to the known distance course and they qualify, then they go to third phase and do combat marksmanship. You're going to go out there with James and the other guys, and you're going to teach all the combat marksmanship classes. So I'd be in a big podium in a room full of caminet and on top of a big stage with being really loud and have a clicker, and I would teach PowerPoint, big presentation, and get all the recruits yelling all the time, and then go out, take them to the range, and do drills and do obstacle courses and like night infiltration courses and day infiltration courses and day fire with the loom or night fire with the loom and things like that, and just teach them all the combat stuff. And so I was like, well, that's cool. So I was a PMI, which means I got to wear a green shooting jacket with the pads on it. I got to wear a campaign cover, which I wore that as a block NCO, but putting the green jacket on, the PMI jacket, was like something that a lot of people want to do in the Marine Corps and never get the chance to do. So that was, to me, that was like, it was a huge deal, earning the right to wear that. I mean, I was like the cockiest, freaking most arrogant dude ever, like corporal wearing a green jacket, because that was the only one, and I'd been the only one in many years. And it was awesome. It was cool, and did that for a few months. I was still a corporal. I ended up pushing one platoon as a corporal because I just like, look, I'm probably going to get promoted next month. Can I please get a platoon and push it as a corporal?
I want to be the only one.
Yeah, and so they did. Right before I got promoted, I pushed a platoon through grass week and firing week before I got promoted to sergeant. But this was after I got out and spent a 2 or 3 months at the fire department because I was trying to stay in, and somehow my paperwork got lost. And the chief of the fire station that I'd been volunteering at for 3 years said, "Hey, dude, don't just go ahead and get out. I got a job for you right now." I'm like, "Don't we have to do like human resources and advertise a job for like 3 months and this and that?" He's like, "No, we usually do, but we're not doing that. It's like if you want a job, you've got it." So I worked there while I was like re-enlisting back in the Marine Corps, and